In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how we create a scatter plot graph in Microsoft Excel using a blank template. So let's begin. Now in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how we can create a graph that looks exactly like the one I've got here that compares three sets of data on the same set of axes. Now, when we're creating these sorts of graphs, you can sometimes just select the data that you've got here, select the type of graph that we'd like, so we'd like a scatter plot, which can be found in this drop down here, and it'll create something that's very similar to what I've got here already. However, there are times where you might be trying to select your data and the graph that it's producing isn't exactly what you're after, such as this example here. Now there are multiple reasons why this might occur. It might be the table layout you've chosen or the data range you've selected, and Excel is not able to interpret exactly what you're after. So the purpose of this demonstration is to create our own graph from scratch, from a blank template, and selecting our own source of data. Now to do this, you first need to select the Insert tab and drop down the type of graph that you'd like. Here, I want to do a scatter plot, an XY scatter plot, so I drop down this and hit my scatter plot, and it'll create a white blank template for me to use. So the next step is to tell Excel what data that we want to present. To do that, we right click in the white space here and we go down and go to Select Data and click on that. And we'll end up with a box that looks like this. Now I'm just going to move it so you can see what I'm doing. Now if you look down here, we've got this Legend Entries or Series section. That's where we want to select each individual series of data that we're going to present. So the clear, the green and the blue. So we're going to need to create three of them, but let's create our first one. To do that, we press the plus button in here and we've got this thing called Series 1. That's going to be the first series of data that we're going to select. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the name for my series of data. And I do that by clicking this little box here, and then I click the cell that's got the name of the data that I want to choose. So I'm going to select the clear cell first, and then once I've selected the cell, I click this box here and it will return me to the screen I was at before. Now the next thing I need to tell Excel is what is going to be my X values, which is going to be the data that I want presented on the X axis. Now in this case here, I want to present the number of days across the X axis. So I select this little box here so I can select the data cells. Now in my table over here, the actual range of data starts in this cell here, and I click, hold and drag to where all the days are. And that'll tell Excel what my X source of data is going to be, or my X values. Now for the Y values, I'm going to be presenting the heights of the crest seeds on days 0, 3, 6 and 10. To do that, I click this box here again, and then I go and highlight from the 0 through to the 10th day of the heights of the crest seeds when they were clear. Once I've done that, I check this box again. And now what I've done is I've told Excel how I want it to present the clear series of data. So now I've got to repeat the process 2 more times, but this time telling Excel that I want the green data and then the blue data for the third one. So to do that, I click the plus box again and it's giving me a new series of data. And then I repeat the process that I did before, starting with the name, then the X values, then the Y values. So I'm going to fast forward this so you can see me complete it for green. And then I do it once more for blue. So once you've done this, I've now got my 3 sets of data that's going to be compared on my graph. So now I select the OK and it will produce the graph that I told it to produce. However, this graph is missing many of the essential elements that are required on every graph we do in mathematics. So the first thing I need to do is tell it what the x-axis is representing and what the y-axis is representing. So to do that, if your chart's not selected, so if you've clicked away, you need to click the chart itself so it's highlighted. You then go to the Chart Design tab. Sometimes it automatically selects that tab for you. And then under that tab, you go to the Add Chart element and you go down to the Axes title. And I'm going to start by adding a primary horizontal axis, which is my x-axis. So I click that and it gives me a little title here. So now I click in this title and I highlight everything that's in here so I can type my own title. Now the x-axis is representing days. So I put days here and then I just click away. You repeat the process to add the y-axis, but instead, under the axes title, you're going to select the primary vertical tab. You click inside of it, you highlight everything that's in here, and on our y-axis, we're representing the heights of our plants. So we write height. But we also need to tell what units it's in. In this case, it's measured in millimeters. Once again, just click away and it finishes that. The next thing all graphs need is a title. To add a title, once again, you click to make sure your graph is selected. You go to the Chart Design tab, go to the Add Chart element, but this time we're going to select Chart Title and we're going to put our title above the chart. So we select that option. Once again, we need to click inside of here. We highlight the chart title and we call it what we want to call it. Now in mathematical investigations, we always call our graphs figure 1, figure 2, figure 3, counting up consecutively. Since this is going to be the first graph I'm going to use, I'm going to call it figure 1. And then put a full stop, a space, and now I title my graph. In this case, I'm comparing the mean growth heights of the plants of cress seeds under different lighting conditions. So I'm going to call it mean growth of cress seeds. Once you're done, click away and that's now been added. Now something that's missing from my graph is a legend or a key that tells me which series of data is which. Now to add that, once again we select the graph, we go to Chart Design tab, we go to the Add Chart element, but this time we're going to go down here to Legend and we're going to add ourselves a legend just to the right of the graph, like so. And what we've now successfully done here is we've manually created a graph that compares the growth of our cress seeds under 3 different lighting conditions.